Cheers! Oh, you won't broke that.
Okay, great.
This is good. It's very strong. I like it.
I can't do the non-caffeinated stuff, so.
Hi everyone, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, and we are back here with our Spill the Tea series where the whole country gets to meet and know more about our KPAC members. Today we are so excited to be joined by Commerce Member Dave Min from the great state of California. And he's a freshman, but he's such a rising star, and we're so grateful to have him in our Democratic caucus. So we have a few questions for Dave today. Surprise, he doesn't know what we're going to ask. The first question is, what is your favorite kind of tea?
Oh, favorite kind of tea? Well, I actually like coffee more than tea, so I brought coffee today. And I actually I'm one of those bougie coffee snobs, so this is a pour-over coffee. And it comes, it's an Ethiopian brew from my district. Well, Ethiopia is obviously not my district, but from a coffee shop in my district called Neat in Costa Mesa, which I've had the chance to tour. They let me behind the counter. I made my own coffee there, yes. And it has notes of fruit, if you'd like to try a little bit.
I'd love to try some.
I haven't tasted this yet, so I don't know if it has on the back end, but we were very excited to try it. And then, as far as tea itself, Koreans like something called boricha, which is, you've heard, it's like rice tea.
Mm-hmm.
My kids love boba.
No caffeine, right?
Yeah, that's right. My kids love boba tea, of course. Although my daughter's been getting into a matcha phase. I'm not like a classic green or black tea guy. So an Earl Grey or good, like, robust green tea, if I'm not drinking coffee, is kind of what I like. How about you? What's your favorite tea?
Awesome. I like oolong tea.
Oh, yeah.
And when I need something without caffeine, I like to drink the Korean barley tea too.
It's good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's really yummy. And recently I've been trying to drink it chilled too in the summer, which is very refreshing. But this is really good. Thank you for sharing this from your district.
Yeah, thank you.
We have more questions for Dave.
Oh, wow.
The next one. Okay, who is an AA-NHPI leader that everyone should learn about?
So before my time, so I was the first Asian American state senator in my area. First Democrat as well, but that was back in 2020 I was elected. And I learned that I was the second Korean American ever elected to the state senate. And the first was this guy named Alfred Song, who was actually the first Asian ever elected to the California state legislature.
Oh, wow.
And he was like 10 or 15 years ahead of the next one.
Oh, wow.
And his story was he was a Korean American who grew up in Hawaii. He came out to, I think he went to UCLA or USC for law school back in like the 40s or 50s. And he was a lawyer, just brilliant. Settled in Monterey Park before there were, now there's a lot of Asians in Monterey Park in Southern California, but he just was like one of the first, and he was elected to the Assembly, then to the State Senate. While he was in the State Senate, among other things, he just decided he was going to overhaul the entire California code on his own as a project. So very brilliant guy, like way ahead of his time, really fascinating. I had the chance to meet his daughter before she passed away a few years ago to honor him, but really incredible. And so when I learned about this Korean American who I really didn't know anything about, he was just so ahead of his time, and it's people like that you're like, oh wow, like for us it's challenging getting elected. We are still having to deal with some different things because we're Asian American, because there's not so many of us, but for someone like that, Alfred Song, back in a time when he really was the first, and it was unheard of that an Asian American would be elected official. It was really amazing.
Yeah, amazing. No trail to follow.
Yeah.
No colleagues to lean on.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to describe America in 3 words, what would they be?
I think the first word I'd probably use is diversity. And I've been talking a lot about that lately because there are people in our country right now, including the president, who are trying to demonize diversity. But diversity is at the heart of what America has always been about. And before there were Asian Americans, Latinos, diversity, this was still an incredibly diverse country because you had Italians and Irish and Polish and English and Irish and Scots and Germans, and that was at the time novel. And that diversity has always benefited this country. It's driven our economy. It's driven the knowledge and the culture that we have. And that tolerance for diversity, and that would be the second word I'd probably use, tolerance, inclusion, that has made America a place historically where people have wanted to come. And so your story is probably similar to mine. My parents came to this country because they thought America was a place where, even though they didn't know anybody, even though they didn't really know the language that well when they moved here, that it would give them that opportunity to succeed in life because we have always accepted people, and I think that's an important one. And then I think the last one I'd probably say is, and we're not perfect at this, but America's always stood for justice. And I know there's some dark spots in our country's history, and maybe we're going through one right now, but justice has to be part of the equation because at the end of the day, the United States has been a beacon for so many people around the world for so long, and I think that's what we're struggling with right now is there are people that look around the world right now at us and say America is not a just place, it's not a just country. How do we reclaim that sense that we're the good guys?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a struggle, but the march must continue. As we celebrate our nation's birthday, those are good lessons and good words. Okay, what is one place in our country that everyone should visit besides the coffee shop?
I think, well, first of all, obviously you want to visit Washington, D.C. at some point in your life, even if it's crazy right now, and even if monuments are being ripped apart and crazy stuff's happening, it is still a very special place, and I really love the fact that the museums here are all free. And so I'm almost never here on weekends, but I was here this past weekend and really just delighted in that. Of course, I have to mention my district, and I represent an amazing district, so like Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Irvine, pretty amazing places to see. I was just at the banana stand, the original banana stand in Newport Beach, which was the inspiration for the banana stand in Arrested Development, if you ever watched that show. And I think that's a kind of a place, the whole area of Balboa, but the banana stand in particular, you should go check it out. It's now called Sugar and Spice, and we'll be posting social media on it soon because I just did a whole clip. And they said there's no money in the banana stand, but we know there's always money in the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana stand! No touching! No touching!
I love it. I have not seen it. One day. All right. If you could have coffee or tea with any person from U.S. history, who would you choose?
Oh, that's such a great question. Who would you choose?
Who would I choose? I think former President Lincoln.
Lincoln, okay.
Be interested in hearing his thoughts before we knew what happened in history.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I might go with Einstein. Just because I feel like again, not that I don't know very much about it, but he's brilliant, and I know that at the end of his life, he was also thinking a lot about questions of theology and religion, and just I'd be curious, just for someone who could so profoundly understand the universe in ways that the rest of us can't. Yeah. Just to have some time with him to be able to pick his brain.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand what he's saying, but I think that'd be a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question. What is your hope for our AA and HPI community in the next 250 years?
I hope that in 250 years there is no such thing as an AA and HPI community, because the distinctions that make us unique in this country no longer exist, and that we are all just Americans and world citizens at that point. And so I think, to just be clear, we need to identify ourselves as AA and HPIs today, if for no other reason other than that the rest of the country views us that way. And Derek Tran, Ted Lieu, and I get confused all the time. This is something we deal with on a regular basis. We know there's a lot of stereotypes that happen. I often, when I talk to Asian audiences, I know look, hey, when you say AA and HPI, you're talking about countries of origin that account for 60% of the world's population. You're talking about Central Asia, you're talking about Southern Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, the islands in the Pacific, Hawaii. You're talking about just such a wide diaspora of people, and there's not that much that connects us, but in this country there's actually quite a lot because we share similar experiences. Most of our families have moved here after 1965, when the quota system was eliminated. We often grew up being othered, and so we were like the minority, and the minority that was easy to pick on. We've seen great progress since you and I were kids. I mean, it is really cool that you and I have talked about this, like how our kids now it's like really cool to be Asian, and my kids are like, oh, like it's really cool to be Korean.
It's
dad.
cool to drink boba.
Yeah, it's cool to drink boba.
Kimbap.
Yeah, eat kimbap. They all have bento boxes now. K-pop. It's like just crazy to see the rise of AAA and HPI culture in this country. But there's obviously still a lot of work to do, and I just hope that the values that we think are important about our cultures, like hard work, a real empathy for the underdog, a real tolerance for diversity and multiculturalism, that those are everlasting legacies. But really, I just hope like we're all Americans in 250 years.
Yeah, well, our community, our ANHPI community is just as American as everyone else. And as we celebrate our nation's birthday this year, it's important for everyone to remember. And we're so grateful to be part of this caucus. It's funny, people confuse me for other Asian members too. They'll ask me how Hawaii is or how California is. Someone once called me Patsy Mink.
Oh, geez.
Which was shocking, but still somewhat of an honor because she is our trailblazer. So we have a lot more to overcome.
Yeah.
But we're really grateful for Dave. So fortunate that he is a part of our caucus here in Congress. Please follow his work if you don't already do so. More to come. Thanks.
Thanks for spilling the tea with me, Grace.
Thanks.